Hi there, Brian, Mark, Fitness for Life. I'm coming to you with exercise number one about plantar fasciitis. Hey there, Mark.
Okay, so another thing we're very big on here is where you have pain doesn't always mean that that's where the problem is. Our approach to treating plantar fasciitis or foot issues, just speaking on those issues, is you got to look at the rest of the body. Your hip is going to drive that motion of your foot. So if you don't have good hip mobility, it's not going to allow you to drive the foot appropriately so that that foot can load and unload as you walk and as you do things.
And actually, as I'm walking now, I feel like I'm not really conforming to the ground like we talked about before. I feel like I'm just kind of shuffling. My feet aren't really moving like they should anyway.
What your hip has to do, I'm going to show this, okay, as he's standing here. Now, Brian's got nice arches there, but here's what I want you to notice, okay? So if we look at his right foot, if he just takes his hips, hands on his pelvis, and rotates his hips to the right, you see what that does to his foot is how it brings his arch in. Now, if he rotates to the left, that same right foot, now the arch collapses. So you can see how just turning his hips is driving his foot into these positions. So if you don't have good hip rotation, you can't drive your foot into the position it needs to be. So the first exercise we like to do is working on hip mobility. And what we're going to tell you too is we like to do these exercises barefoot. The reason being is foot has a lot of receptors on the bottom, second only to your hand. Those receptors communicate with the brain, telling your brain where in space are the muscles, the joints, how fast they move, and what position are they in. You don't get that through padded shoes. Now, that doesn't mean you never wear shoes, obviously, but as far as to be more effective with your foot, then you can also see how it's working and making sure you're getting what you want. So you have to create that arch in order to make the foot become stable. Now, a lot of people will tell us, well, I've got flat feet, and that's why they have the arch supports. And again, my only saying with that, it may be good for a while, but as soon as you pad something, the muscle doesn't have to work. So as soon as you take your shoes off at night, get into bed, foot collapses. A lot of people say that their foot is flat. What I do is take a look at their foot, go ahead and lift your foot. And I take their foot, and if I can make an arch, because they're standing flat footed, but if you can make an arch, they're capable of getting that arch back. A structural flat foot would be if the bones are so tight and stiff and locked in where you can't create an arch artificially. Brian can. Most of the people I see can, so you can strengthen it. So the first way you're going to strengthen this is just standing like Brian did. So we're going to say we're working on the right foot. And I'm just going to have him just take his hands and just work on driving his hips to the right. Just driving that.
Kind of feels like a good stretch in my feet too.
It does. But you can easily see how that's moving and pulling that arch in. So you're training the brain what to do with that. Okay. You do want to keep the ball of your big toe, little toe, and heel on the floor. Make that tripod. Now, to make that even more effective, he can take his hands and he can rotate them to the right. And you can see just by driving the hands will cause these to work and bring that arch in. And then our second one is now simulate your walking. So he's going to take a step with his left, but cross over and back. So just that crossing over, you can see him drive that foot into what we want. And that's the back foot while he's walking. So now you're training that dynamically to move how it's supposed to move when you walk. If you have further questions, contact us at fitness4lifept.com.